ideas and a system that helps a lot of young people to navigate the
Wow.
transition moments of their lives. So whether you are at the gap year phase or you are at an employee phase or something, so they do just so much more. So it's something all the participants can go watch out for after they leave here.
Wow. Wow.
She's super
Thanks.
phenomenal.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so I'll
Right.
briefly introduce Mr. Akin according to his profile, because I went through Mr. Akin's profile and I was marveled, and I said, no, I needed Mr. Akin to actually speak to us, because it's very, very important to actually find great young men like that to actually go that far and have gone that far. So I would like to read his introduction. So who would have thought that a young boy in 1990, having lived on the streets, can grow up to become an enigma? Mr. Akin,
1990 or 1999?
oh, 1999.
Yeah, that
Sorry,
was when I was a teenager at that time.
yeah, sorry, 1990. 1990.
1999.
So 1999.
1999.
Yeah, 1999, but
Yeah, I was a teenager then. Yeah,
okay. Okay, so 1999. So Mr. Akin is a
yeah.
development consultant, an author, and keynote speaker. His purpose is to discover, develop, and deploy people into their full potential. He has consulted for many organizations and addressed more than 200,000 people in talks, training, seminars throughout Nigeria and Dubai and United and many other countries worldwide. Mr. Akin speaks to government, corporate, and public audience, campuses, and churches on the subject of personal and professional development, communication, emotional intelligence, goal setting, and other nations building subjects that bring about immediate changes and long-term results. Is active in educational community impact, national affairs, happily married with two children, and he lives in Lagos, Nigeria. Is the author of Stay in Your Process. I love that book. Thanks very much, sir. You're welcome, sir. So I'm going to mute myself
Thank
now.
you. All right, Mr. Miracle. It's good to have you here. Interestingly, I'm not sure I've seen you physically before, but it's exciting that we could connect online and we can do this together. So I first want to appreciate you and thank you for putting up this together, because I feel that this would help a lot of young people, and it's also going to help them to find purpose. So I think you're doing an incredible work. You're doing a great work, and I am so appreciative of this. Thank you for inviting me. I do not take it for granted. Right. So straight to action tonight. We are going to be having some conversations. So I'll just share a bit of some stories with us. Then from there, we are able to um, get some things together as action points. So I'm supposed to talk. This is supposed to be a program for students. So capacity, how to build capacity, and the what do you call it? The organizers asked me to do something around the process, right? So let me first share a bit of my story with you, so that anybody who sees my community profile would not think that people just emerge or people just came out of the blues like that. And if you see my professional profile, you would be wondering, how can this guy just have all of this together for himself? Because my community profile is different from my professional profile. If you get on LinkedIn, you can see that. So it doesn't just happen like that. That's why I appreciate this meeting that Miracle is putting up together, simply because I am somebody that appreciates process a lot, and I've been through different seasons of my life. I wouldn't lie to you. I can count close to 12 different seasons of my life. I know the season where I was indebted as a 2007 November. I was owing a debt of over 40 million naira as a young person as at that time. My other friend who was owing people certain amount of money, he died in the process, and I remember that was the time during the economic upheaval where people like Abayomi Obabolojo and the rest of them, got out of business, and that was just because a lot of things were going on in the economy of this nation. So that was a phase for me where everybody was looking for me, everything under uniform, anything that wears uniform, whether it's police or in the army or you are in the Air Force or even Boy Scout, all kinds of human beings were looking for me. And that was a phase in my life. There was a phase, a relational phase of my life. There was a phase of emergence for me. I have like 12 of it, but let me just pick a particular season I shared that we get into what we want to talk about this evening. So I grew up. I was born in a city in Benin City, in the early 80s in what we call the New Edo State. So I was in Benin City, and so in Benin City, I um, I was going to school there, and my father, who was a management staff at Nigerian Breweries, had to go from place to place. So he would get transferred. He would have to go till he became a director. That was when he probably had what I would have called stability in the things that he's doing. So and from Benin, I went to Kaduna. I remember when my dad was going to come back from his scheduled training in outside the country. He came back to Kaduna and he was told to resign under duress for no reason, without plans, without transition, without anything. And I'm really shocked. Then they said he had to resign. I mean, he wished he had more time to prepare. He wished he had more time to do other things or maybe get his children stabilized and everybody, and then that was quite, and this was probably 1989 or 1990, if I remember. So it was a shock to the whole family as at that time. And life just happened to us. I mean, anybody listening to me, I mean, this is not what I want to talk about, but don't try to get ready in life. Learn to live ready. You don't try to get ready, you live ready, you stay ready, because sometimes life is going to happen for you in ways where you never imagined it to come from. So you will not be naive to say, oh, I never saw this coming. You don't need to see it coming. You will need to live ready for the demands of destiny to be established. Right. So after that time, he resigned. We used to be in the best schools. I remember. So we had to withdraw, and we started going to school. I remember we landed the city of Lagos in 1991. That was the second time because my dad had a house. Fortunately, that he built in Lagos. So we had to come back to Lagos for the second time. And that's where we tabernacled after we have gone through about 6 or 7 cities, out different states altogether. And we got into Lagos, and my father said to us that, come, I have a house in Lagos. I mean, and I also have a house in the village. I mean, you guys can pick any of them, but just know that I will just return back to the village when it looks like things are not working again for me. So, and we said to ourselves that we're going to hustle up in Lagos. So, if you talk about the mid 90s, we began to do all kinds of things and we started taking our destinies into our hands. I remember the first thing I had to do was that the easiest business I could do was to start hawking. So I was hawking all kinds of things. I sold over 16 things on my head. If you look at my head may look a bit flat, but I think it's a lot of traits that have brought my head to be like that. So guess what happened? I had to do that because I needed that to succeed. I sold the first thing I sold was ice water. Ice water was sold at 50 kobo at that time. Is it that 30 kobo or 50 kobo? So we put it into nylon, put some block of ice on it, and guess what? We just begin to do something around that. So immediately that happened, I was making a little money. In the day I can make 7 naira. In the day I can make 10 naira. In the day was a day I made 45 naira. I was so excited. I was so happy that wow, God has done something really great for me. So I remember a particular time where I had to. Sorry, I'm trying to chat a group of people to join me in this meeting. I feel they should hear me talk. So that's why I'm looking down, right? So after that time, I thought I could do more business. So I made money. I started selling drinks. As I was selling drinks, I sold all kinds of drinks. I remember the first drink I took, I sold was well, I was selling Tandy Guarana. After Tandy, I started selling Crush. From Crush, I moved to what is called Dr. Pepper product. From Dr. Pepper product, I mean, I was selling all kinds of things. Even long before the Limcas and the what do you call it, and the gold spot of this world came out. We started doing all of that and we're selling it, and I was doing it with joy. I remember after a while, somebody said he was going to employ me. I was going through an elevation for the first time in my life. So I met a man who was the general manager of Nigerian Port Authority. This was a Papa Wolf, and said, I love you, I like you, I'm going to help you. And I thought he really wanted to help me. And he took me to a woman who was selling food and said to them, from today, he wants me to be the one serving food, selling food, and washing plate. And they were going to pay me about some 3 naira on daily basis. And that was quite some money. I mean, to him, that was help. I thought the guy was going to make me an intern in the company. I mean, because he had the power to do that, he had the money to do that, so, and he was going to do that, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I said, no problem, that's fine. Then suddenly, I began to carry life in my hands. I would sell food, wear a yellow Maggie Cube coverall from place to place, and I would serve the food. One day, the police came and said, I don't want anybody to sell food at the what do you call it, at the place again. So I had to lose my job, and suddenly I moved on to sell other things. I remember when we got back to our house in Lagos here, we would trek from Surulere to a place in a Butemeta called Kano Street. There we would go and buy some firewood. We laid the firewood into the sacks of rice because we used to be rich. So we probably were buying bags of rice in bags, beans in bags, gari in bags. But now we're buying in derricas. There are two different things. So you have to buy 2 derricas or 3 derricas or something. So we're buying bags before. So the bags, we take it to where we're getting wood from, and suddenly we begin to carry the wood on our head to go lay 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. How much were the woods then? You sell it for 10 naira or you sell it for 20 naira at that time. I mean, and that's quite good. We're making money. I sold buns. I sold puff puff. I sold egg. I carry egg from place to place. Every business person around me, I said to them, if you want to buy egg, I'm going to give it to you. Even if you're going to buy it on credit, buy it on a Monday morning. I get my box back on a Friday night. So that's what I was doing. Some people are still owing me money till now. That's between 2000 and the egg business was probably 1998. I mean, some people are still owing me money till now so, and that was what I was doing all my life and all those points. But people used to ask me, how did you get your business intelligence? How do you get the things you know about business and all of that? These were the raw materials that I knew. These were the things that I went through for God to help me to be able to emerge, to be able to do the things I'm doing in a small capacity, and also trusting God for much more at those times. So that was a bit of my story. I remember one day I had to go collect a kiosk where I was going to be selling Amstel, Malta, Chin Chin, and all kinds of donuts inside the place. And then I had to set up that because school had resumed back. I resumed back to school, so I had to be going to school. So I set up something there. Then a woman who is by the other side is going to be selling for me, give me the money when I come back, whether the money is complete or not. But it's better than not meeting anybody because you're not sure of where the next launch is going to come from. And so I'm saying this because at any level that you are in, whatever we are saying today is very, very important. So if you are very good, you need to be better. If you're at the barest minimum, if you're at a point where things have not been going so well the way you want it to go, you are also welcome here. So it means that what I'm sharing is big enough to contain you, and it's also small enough to reach you, right? So that was an example of all my processes. I mean, there was a time that I had to write JAM for about 5 or 6 times in my life. By the time I was getting to the university, my friends were already on masters, concluding their first year in their masters, different kinds of seasons in my life, and so don't let my face trick you. My face can look fresh or look one kind. I mean, but the kind of processes I've been through, only God knows how I survived it. We go through hell, but we come out smelling like heaven. And that's so beautiful about the things that God can do for us, right? So I'll share with you about 3, 4, 5 things that I think would help us to build capacity. So today I look at myself. I thank God for the things that God helps me to do, because I can do nothing of my own. But most importantly, because of how he was able to raise me to do the things I was doing, so, and today I'm a trainer, I'm a consultant, I'm an advisor. I do a lot of things I mean, right now working with 2 state governments on projects. At the time I had like 7, so I thank God for, I pastor a church that I love everybody there. So doing things on a multidimensional level, and it's quite powerful for me. It's quite quite powerful, and I want to share about 5 things that I believe helped me. One day I was in a particular country and I needed to do a training for a consulting for construction firm, and I said to myself, why will people pay you all the way just to come to another country, pay for your flight, pay for your hotel, pay for your food, give you honorarium on top of it, give you a platform, help you to network with people, and just because of what you do, and it's what you love. So I want to share with us 5 things that I think would help us this morning. Now, number one is this. I want to talk about the power of skills, the power of skill. Now, skill is powerful for anything that you're doing in your life. Now, I'm not saying talent. Everybody, we all have talents. We're all given birth to, we came from God with talent. So we know all those sermons. But talent is never enough. When you sharpen your talent, it transforms it and it makes it a skill, right? So a sharpened talent is what becomes a skill. So one important thing you must understand is this, that for you to be skillful, you need to learn how to sharpen your talent. So let me give you examples. Many years ago in this country, we used to have some really, really great, what do you call them? Great comedians that make us really laugh and make us really happy. We're like, wow, these guys are crazy guys. So for example, for me, I used to grow up listening to guys. I mean, let me take from Yoruba and the Igbo space. We used to have a guy called Papi Lolo. We used to have a guy called Alue. I think that one is still doing some work. And when these guys are just doing stuff, we are excited, we are laughing. There was a movie called Lagos Nawa that when we watch it, we are just smiling, 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 smiling. But because I met a few of them in the past 5 to 7 years ago, I mean, that's like 2007. Yeah, 2007 to 2009. I noticed that some of these guys are still poor. They are not doing well. And I look at them trying to compare them with the present day comedians. I mean, you have few comedians, you have Akbororo, you have Basket Mouth, you have Belvi, you have Sako, you have different ones who are Julius Agu. They're doing so well. One day I asked Sheilo happened to be my a school son to me when I was in the secondary school at that time. And I asked him that, oh, how do you make money? And he said that even if he had a bad business, it was a bad day, they didn't make money at all in their show, it can't be less than 5 million take home for him. I said, in how many hours? I said 3 hours. I said, but that's bad business, boss. And so for them, look at the difference. Those guys, the first guys had talent. The second guys had talent converted into skill. The world is going to pay for your skill. People are not going to pay you for your talent. People want to see the skills. So they don't want to know the sacrifices that you went through. They don't want to know the time you burnt into it, how much you spent on a design table, how much you tried to ideate things out. Really, people don't just care. But the moment they can perceive that this person has gone through that process and has been able to come out with something great that they can pay for, trust me, they don't mind. They are going to pay for anything and everything. Are we together? I mean, so talk to me. Let me be sure that we are still together this afternoon, right?
Yes, sir.
Miracle.
Yes, sir. We're still together.
All right, great. So if at any point you need me to stop or something, please let me
Okay,
let me know. Right. So as we were saying, I was doing that, and you need to get a skill. You need to get a skill. Now, the first time I made 1 million naira in my life was in 2000 and I think 2000 and 2003. Now, at that point, I was writing, I think I was just doing a transition probably into the 2001, sorry, 2001. I had a business of a tutorial school. I said to myself that now that I've written jam 5, 6 times and I've not been able to get into school. What can I do for myself? So I remember that I've been teaching at tutorial centers everywhere in Lagos. So I said, that means I can do something for myself. So I went to a school, worked out something for them that I can do an evening classes here. And the summer school was coming, which was August and September, but I could do something massive there. When I got there, I was shocked at the kind of result I got because everybody told me who would come. They don't know you. You don't do runs. You don't play games. How can people want to go to places where they can pass, make them pass, people who throw balls, and in the first month, I had about 68 students, and I had about, at a point, I think in a particular time, a month rather, I had about 18 teachers that I was paying salaries as at that time. And it proved to me that these things were possible, and people now began to pay for my skill. They paid for my skill at that level. So I remember the first time I made a 5 million naira for myself. I was in the university then, and an idea came to me. I saw people spending money, people who probably came from fantastic homes. They were just spending a lot of money, eating money. I said, wow, these guys are really rich. I said, for me, that's not my story. We used to be rich. I'm not sure we are still rich like that again, So good to see you, Divine. Right. So, and I said to myself, well, let me help them to spend their money. So I came up with an investment scheme and I started doing that. So as I started doing that, people were putting money on to buy things like shares. When I mean shares, the stock market unit of different companies. So we began to buy that for them. I buy shares. I started training people on what they call mutual funds, and I was doing practice. I was doing practice of forex as at that time. So I was making a lot of money. Right. I think you have a message for me there. Let me read the message. Let me be sure we're good. Miracle, if that message is for me, maybe you should send it to my WhatsApp so that I don't disrupt what I am
Okay,
saying.
sir. Okay, I'll send it now.
Okay. All right. So the organizer is saying that after now, we will need to now. So is it that we are going to sign in again with the same address, or that's all for us? I think you should talk to me.
I have to sign it with the same address, but if it doesn't work, I may
So
have to send the link to you or so. But let me try and see what I can do.
okay, if you can post the link where you are now into the chat box, it will help. It will help them, right? So, and that was how I did that. And so, skill is powerful. And number two thing, so go and invest every money you have into a skill. People are going to pay for that back. The organizations are going to pay for that back. People are still going to make sure that they get you back all those monies. Number two is never play with relationships as you grow. Relationships are powerful. Relationships will compensate for the things that you do not have. Listen to this. You know what you'd have spent a lot of time praying about. Some things require prayer and fasting. Much more, some things require relationship. The things you'd have spent time talking to God about, God would have already put it in the hands of relationships around you. So never ever make that mistake to look down on anybody around you. Or I always say something, every time you do not like a door, do not jam it. You should close it gently, because one day you may need to open those doors again. And when you need to open the door, do you want to struggle with it, or what would you do as at that time? Many years ago, I was going on an aircraft and I met Professor Yemi Oshibodas. At that time, I never knew him. There's just one short man that sat down next to me. They stopped him a lot in the whole flight. And guess what? When I met him, the man wasn't going to talk to me. But when we were about finishing the flight, he exchanged dealings with me. That's when I knew this guy had been an attorney general and all of that. I kept close contact with him. Fast forward into just about 6 years ago in 2014 to hear that this guy was going to be the vice president of Nigeria. And I never had an inkling that this guy was going into politics, because he himself didn't know until he was invited in to do that. So you know that relationships are powerful. On his account, I've traveled to about 4 countries paying nothing on his convoy, and I've been able to make good money from that. Relationships are powerful. Do not play with them. God has placed certain people your way around this season. Ensure that you did not play with it, nurture it. Don't just ask people for things. Ask them, how can I be a part of what you do? And that is really, really powerful. And that helps your mentorship. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that any moment from now, this Zoom is going to go off. I hope the organizers can post the next Zoom link, or maybe we would have to reconnect back with the same link, or maybe we are going to call it a day here. So I feel that those 2 points are going to help you to be able to get into capacity. God is not going to give you what you have not been processed for. You can only possess what you have been processed for, no matter your confession and the things that you see. There are certain things that will only happen in a space of time for you. Amen. Glory to God. Let's hear from the organizer if he has certain instructions to pass to us. Over to you,
Okay.
Miracle.
Okay, so we have about 1 minute more. So I'm trying to get the link now. So if I'm not able to get the link now, to head to the group right now with the chat. So maybe we just have to join with another link.
Okay.
But we have
And
about
how do
2
we
minutes more.
ensure everybody here? Yeah, how do we ensure everybody here gets the link?
Okay, I'm going to post the link now. I'm going to post the link now. I'm going to paste the link now. Okay.
All right. So by the time we sign in the next session, we're going to have different, we can take questions and answer all through that period, and we would be good. All right. So it's good to see every one of us. It's good to see Onu Ugochukwu. It's good to see, I can't pronounce your name. I hear Lira. Good to have you here. Emerike Christiana. It's good to see you, Divine. It's good to see you, Mercy.
And we also have this online too. We have people also watching online on Facebook too as well.
On Facebook.
Oh, hi to all our Facebook audience. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for being part of the meeting. Have you posted the link now?
Not yet. I'm trying to paste it. Now.
Okay. Cool.
Back with the same link. We're coming back with the same link.
We should be able to do that.